Welcome to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here today with Kelly Parker. Kelly is coming to us from Chicago. I have not interviewed anyone yet from Chicago, so I'm super excited. We'll welcome Kelly into the screen.
Hi there. Thanks for having me and to be your first
Yeah,
Chicago guest,
I
nonetheless.
know. I'm
That's
so
exciting.
excited. I love travel, so I always get to travel virtually on this show from Australia to Marbella to India, everywhere. So now we're going to be in Chicago today. So I'm super excited. And Kelly Parker and I met on our mastermind. We're in a mastermind group. There are agents, a lot of Compass agents, and a lot of agents from other offices. I'm with Corcoran, and it's just a great networking group that we meet twice a month. And we really get to hear what's going on in the market. We get to hear different ways to help our clients. It's just really great. And then we get to meet people from around the globe. So that makes it really fun. And I reached out to the group and I said, I would love to have an interviewee on Thursday. And Kelly volunteered and I said, you're in. So I'm super happy. So without further ado, we are going to introduce Kelly properly. Kelly Parker, founder and team leader of Home Collective and the founder and coach of Aligned Ambition. Kelly Parker is a leader in real estate and a passionate member dedicated to helping women building thriving, sustainable businesses. As the founder and principal of Broker of Home Collective, she leads a top producing Chicagoland team, earning recognition among the top 1% of agents nationwide by Wall Street Journal RealTrends. With over a decade of experience and a referral driven business, Kelly seamlessly blends industry expertise with personal growth strategies to empower agents to scale with intention. Through Aligned Ambition, her coaching platform, Kelly challenges the traditional one size fits all approach to success. She helps women break through limiting beliefs, develop business rooted in authenticity, and create sustainable growth on their own terms. Her personal journey from navigating burnout to rebuilding after losing her home in a fire fuels her commitment to guiding others towards lasting success and fulfillment. Welcome, Kelly. Wow. It sounds like you're doing a lot and you've done a lot and you've had some ups and downs. And so I'm really looking forward to diving in. So I always like to start with, how did you get to where you are today? Did you go to college?
Mhm.
Did you plan that this was going to be your journey? Did you think it was going to be a different journey, and where you grew up? And then we'll talk about how you define success. So let's start from the
Sure.
beginning.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, whew, let's go back, I guess. We'll go back
Yeah.
to the good old days. I don't know. I do grow up in Southern California. I grew up in the Pasadena area. And I know you're in California as well, but
Yep.
Southern California area. And I left kind of as soon as I could, honestly. I did a couple years of college there, and then I transferred out to the Midwest and out to Ohio. And then quickly realized I might be a Midwest girl at heart, but I need a big city, and landed myself in Chicago at the fresh age of 26 at the time. And no, real estate was not on my bingo card actually at all, which is really funny though, because as I reflect back on so many things throughout my early years growing up and then in my 20s, it actually makes perfect sense that that's where I would end up, and I can share more about that. But I went to school for sociology at Ohio University. I thought maybe I'd get into law, maybe I'd get into social work. Decided, although I have such a big heart and I wanted to help people, I didn't think that was actually going to be the best use of my my emotions. Like I was like, I don't know if I can actually do that. So I
Right.
made a really weird pivot into fashion and went back to LA briefly for a year and did some stuff in the fashion industry, and then moved out to Chicago and continued that journey here. And it was about 3 years into that career, and it was 2009 when the housing market crashed, actually. And I remember some things that went down and thinking, oh wait, I need to help people in a very different way. And I wanted to help people who were going through that experience of losing their homes and short sales and foreclosures and the different things that were happening, as some of us remember who've been in the market for that long. And so that's what really birthed my real estate career, was wanting to get into help people. And that ties back because I had a similar experience when I was young. When I was in my early teens, my parents actually lost their home in a short sale from a development that never developed. And there was like a 90s banking kind of market crash that happened that they were unfortunately a part of. And so I had that experience at a young age of thinking, wait, how can somebody just take your home away? I don't understand. We own this home. And that I think just planted a seed somewhere. So when I was old enough to actually do something about that and help other people, I did. And so I've been in the industry since 2009, helping buyers and sellers throughout Chicago. And it's been a wild 16 years since.
Wow. And you came in at a kind of a tough time. That's incredible. What a story. So you talk about the Home Collective. Tell us what that
Yeah.
is. What is the Home Collective? I love it. It's trademarked and everything.
It's trademarked. We were the original Home Collective, y'all. Home Collective and collective groups and all these things are really popular in the real estate space now. But back in 2011, so I had only been in the business a few years, I was quite successful really early on. And I can speak to why that was. I really wasn't doing this, wasn't really operating in the industry or building my business in the ways that a lot of other people were. And by my fourth year in the business, I found quite a lot of success. I was reaching top producer status as a 30-year-old in a city I did not grow up in. I knew one person when I moved to Chicago. And while that was great, I didn't really care about that. What I wanted is I needed some help. It's like I cannot keep doing this level of business on my own. But I really did not want a traditional team. I really didn't want to name something after myself. I really wanted to help mentor other women because a mentor early on in my career was quite impactful. And so I started my team really through the lens of I had found another woman who I really liked. She was young as well at the time. I think she was 22. She's still on my team 11 years later. And and at that time I said, look, we're a team now and I'm going to call it Home Collective because this isn't about me. It's really about our clients and the collective effort of helping them create success. And that was really the seed of Home Collective at the time. And that's continued to grow into the 10 amazing, badass women that are on this team today. And so I certainly had a vision for it at that time and I can share more about that. But it really came from, I think, a place of service of wanting to help other women in the industry, but also finding a way to do it where I got the support that I needed to continue to grow and scale.
That's incredible. So we will dive deeper into how you organize the team, but let's go back to your early success. You were super young. You were starting out in a new city. That's incredible on its own. So,
Yeah.
and you knew one person. So let's talk about how you found early success.
Yeah. I pretty early on realized that, how do I say this? I think the first is that I was really driven by a very clear why. Like I truly wanted to help people. I wanted to be that person that really helped people understand a couple of things. One, they were going through short sales or foreclosures, that this wasn't personal, that what was happening to them was a part of a bigger, system at play. And while we couldn't control what was happening, I could help them transition with a lot of grace. And that was my goal. My goal was to help something that was incredibly hard and painful for a lot of people, to have a true partner and friend by their side to help them navigate that. And I think that really heart led direction of my business and the relationships I have had with people was so felt that they were sharing my name very quickly. And I just ran with it. I had my head down. I did my work. I hustled in the truest sense, and I loved what I was doing. So I didn't mind working all the time and doing the open houses and making the phone calls and meeting strangers and showing properties and things like that that I think we don't really suggest these days. But it was
Right.
I was working and I was working hard. And but I also really recognized early on that a lot of the advice I was being given, I was like, this does not feel right for me. Like
Mm.
that's not true for me. That's not an authentic way for me to do it. And so I think sometimes it could have been, that sort of feisty 26-year-old who's like, I'm not going to listen to your advice. I'm going to do it my way. But I think it served me truly to just listen to the inner wisdom and the things that genuinely felt right and to go all in on those. And I think it was the combination of a lot of hard work, a heart led business, and recognizing what felt right for me and trusting that. And keeping my head down. I really kept my head down those first 5 years. Even when I won top producer, people were like, who is this girl? I've never even heard of her. Where did she come from? And I'm like, I've been underground. It's fine. I'm just doing my thing. So yeah, I think I answered your question, but
Yeah, no, no, that's
yeah,
great. So let's give people an idea. We know we work 24 hours a day. We're working so hard. We're answering calls. We're fielding. We're trying to market at the same time. We're trying to, work on our deals. So let's give people an idea what it's like to what we do, what kinds of things like open houses and the things. Like, were you part of any networking groups? What was your strategy for meeting strangers and meeting new people? The referrals I get, we get the referral
yeah,
part, but what does it mean? What were you doing? Maybe not differently, but just maybe
yeah.
you were doing more of.
Um, a couple of things. So, it, full disclosure, I'm a total introvert. Like, I am not the girl at the party who's talking to everybody that people will even remember, to be honest. I like small groups, intimate relationships, and that dynamic.
So
And so I wasn't in networking groups because I was too shy to do that. But what I did is two things early on. I made sure people knew I was in the business. And this is, it's so easy, but it is so wild how confused we are about self-promotion. We think we think that telling people and informing people of what we do and how we serve people is self-promotional, but it's actually in great service to other people. And I think because I knew I was doing it from such a like a loving kind place and I genuinely wanted to help people, that was always my message out at the forefront of, this is what I do, this is how I can help you, let me know if you need anything. I wasn't afraid of making sure people knew what I did. uh the second was, I did anything real estate that you could imagine. So open house, at the time you sat at the office and you answered the phone if somebody called off of a sign.
Mhm.
I asked other agents questions and I got mentorship from other agents, and they then knew me as the girl who could help the people they didn't want to help. And I also realized that the I only have professional value. And I really would love anybody who's starting anything new, it does not matter if it's real estate or any business of service of any kind, is that you only have professional value when you have knowledge and skills. And when you're new at something, your number one priority is to learn as much as you can and then to practice that knowledge to develop skills. So I was in every class you could imagine. I was studying the market and the inventory. I was practicing explaining things to my boyfriend at the time, now husband. Here's what's going on in the market. I was developing my skill of, how do I explain interest rates to my husband? How do I explain a buyer agency agreement? All of these things. And I recognized that until I had real knowledge and real skills, I didn't have professional value. And I think the doing the two things at the same time, putting myself in a position to learn as much as possible and developing those skills, is then people also recognize that in me. They recognize that I was professionally valuable to them and could help them. So that's an overarching way, but I will say most of my
Right.
clients, the early days, came through um, open houses, came through my friends of friends. So like I eventually obviously had friends in Chicago, and they would tell their coworkers, oh, she's in real estate. I just really asked people to please spread the word. I was down to do anything, a rental, a sale, just a general neighborhood tour if you didn't know. I was I was the girl. So
It was you went, it's
yeah.
clear. So I've been a coach as well, coaching realtors for over 35 years and being in the business for 35 years. But what you're saying is so on point. It gets frustrating when you're coaching people who don't get what you're saying. What you were saying is you worked every day. You were doing your open houses, whatever it was. You were at the office in front. And if another agent needed something, you said, I can do it. And so you were always there letting people know you were ready to work. And like you said, I'll take someone out on a tour, I'll do a rental, I'll do whatever it is. So I love that. And that is exactly how you are successful today, because you always said yes. Your mindset was yes, yes, yes. And you learned from all the other agents. So when you were new, so just to repeat what I heard you say, when you were new, you didn't have the experience, but you could work on your skills and your knowledge And so you continue to hone in on that and practice it, which, you know, a lot of people don't want to do what you were doing, practicing to your husband. That is so smart, because then you got comfortable. So after, when you're in real estate for a long time, you can just start talking and things come out without you thinking, because we've done it for so
Yeah.
long. And you were practicing that and honing in on that. So I just want to commend you for that, because I like other agents to hear how someone like you was young
Yeah.
and starting in a brand new place. You know, that is huge.
Can I
So
add
just
something to that,
yes,
Debbie? Like, because
absolutely.
so many people start out and they're like, I need the client, I need the leads. Where do I find the
Yes.
clients? And I'm like, that's actually the third part. The first two parts is your license did not actually qualify you to do this job. So
Exactly.
it kept you from getting sued. It's kind of what it did. But it's you need to go learn the information. You need to go develop these skills. And once you have them, you can take it and start working on developing your network. And I just see this popping up so many times where the focus is just a little bit skewed. It's we're
Right.
trying to figure out who we can help without recognizing that we don't actually know what we're doing. And and so I have this, it's a formula I've talked about a lot in my coaching, but it just applies it at the early stages, but every next level of business. You know, if I when I became a team lead, it was like, okay, what do I need to know and what skills do I need to have to actually be a good team lead? And when I expanded, you know, and we grew and now I'm doing a different price point, it's what knowledge and skills do I need to be really effective to this type of clientele? And it just becomes a really helpful formula for, I think, any industry and any stage of life and business.
So
It's knowledge,
dive.
skills, network.
Oh, okay, good. Then that's your
Yeah.
formula. Love
It's
it.
5 buckets. So I have a 5 bucket.
Yeah.
It's knowledge, skills, um, network, reputation, and then resources. And it's almost like, you know, like a champagne tower. If you like pour in one, they sort of all pour down into the
Yeah.
other.
Uh-huh.
And it's if you fill your knowledge and skill bucket, it will, and then you take that to your network and you have professional value to them. That will then lead to referrals. It'll lead to other people knowing that Kelly Parker's a great realtor and Debbie's a great realtor, and we should tell people about these women. That continues to fill your network bucket. And when your network bucket is overflowing, it fills your resource bucket. Now you're making great money. And that obviously leads to a great reputation. And so I always say when I'm talking to people, whether that's coaching or just the women on my team, it's well, what bucket, if this is your goal, what bucket needs to be filled to get there? Where does your focus really need to be? And so it's just that's the 5 buckets, and I could go on all day about them because they're so applicable in so many places. But
No, they are applicable in many places. Anyone with a service product or brand can work with your buckets. So you have a team of 10 people, 10 beautiful ladies. I saw the photos. They're really great, and everyone looks very energetic and passionate and happy. And yes, it was a photo, but I feel like that is who you guys truly are. So tell us about you. You started with one person, and how did you grow, and how do you work as a team? How does that work? And how did
yeah,
you create it?
yeah, I mean, the growth was organic. I will say that the beginning, I was very clear on what this team was and what our values were as a team, right? And what the standards and expectations were that I held for anybody on this team. You're only on this team if you really believe in and have a very clear why as to the being a realtor and the relationships that you have with your clients, because Home Collective is a brand, it has a reputation, and we are known for being deeply caring and compassionate about our clients, but also really professional and highly skilled at what we do. And so I out the gate I was very clear on this is what Home Collective is and this is who this team is for. And then as but we grew organically. It was Emily and I for just the first couple of years, and then we had two women join a couple of years in. And really, it's been the last 4 years that it's grown quite exponentially. And it was a combination of people would come to me and say, "Hey, can I join your team? You know, I like what you guys are doing, and I'd like to be a part of it." And then me also just experiencing other women in the market who I really felt had a lot of were just very aligned with what I believe to be important about this industry and how we treat our clients and all of that. And so So now it's been beautiful. It's continued to grow as we've also needed more support. So the way that we're structured is everybody has their own independent book of business. I am really truly here to teach you how to fish and to build a really abundant and consistent business. That's my goal for you. However, I also believe in work-life balance, and I know it's incredibly hard to achieve that in real estate. And as someone who burned out horribly in 2020, I know that the only way to deliver on the standard I hold for myself and at the level of expectation that I also hold, I needed support. And I needed support with other women who could deliver the same. And so now we're really, while we all have our own books of business, we also cross over often to support each other. Sometimes that looks like, hey, I've got a client who's looking in the suburbs. Kim, run with it, because I don't personally go to the suburbs. And sometimes it's, we've got maternity leave coming up for two of the women, and it's hey, can you support me on these clients while I'm out? And so it's really like I said, it's a collective effort. It's a true community with a lot of camaraderie. We have a lot of respect and admiration for each other. And so that's just like a little bit of the structure. I never wanted to manage people. I'm really here to have women who know how to lead themselves, who are really committed to their business, but also, value also having other women to walk alongside of and support them and be there for them as well.
So let's talk about burnout, and then I want to go over to your coaching program. So tell us what happened in 2020.
Oh my gosh, what didn't happen in 2020? I mean, 2020, as we all know, is pandemic year, and also turned out to be the best year of my real estate business ever.
Wow.
And that was great. And I showed up in all the ways for all of my clients, and it was really come the summer. And I should say, at the time, I had a 3 going on 4-year old who is now home, and with obviously like no support because you didn't really have other people in your house, and we all kind of figured out how to make our businesses work. And so I made it work, and I really found myself in about July of 2020 recognizing that I was at a place that I had never been and never really felt, in the sense that I caught myself. I didn't even want to get in my car to go do showings, to just go do anything work related. And I caught myself, as on the phone call with the client, and I was banging my head on the wall, like as I was talking, just sort of this like, I have had this conversation so many times. I don't want to have these conversations anymore. I don't want to explain an inspection. Like, and and it was like so deep inside of me that I realized I had been burned out longer than I had admitted. I had been burned out for about 2 years, and I just kept going because that's what I knew. And that was the one mode I was comfortable in, and was just to get shit done and keep you power through and you figure it out later. And so but in that moment, I realized, wait, we've got a huge problem, because I was starting to really resent my clients. I was starting to resent my team. It was things that I was like, this isn't me. And this is a business I loved for a very long time. And so I realized like I actually couldn't keep going on like that. And so at the time, I genuinely thought, I decided I'm going to take this break because I think it's the only way to actually change anything, is to take a meaningful break. And I decided I was going to take September through December off. It's going to take a 4-month sabbatical.
Wow.
And again, people thought I was crazy. They're like, Kelly, this is the best year of your career. Like, just get through it. Don't stop now. And I was like, no, mom's not gonna, I'm not gonna make it. So I decided to take a break, but candidly at the time, I really thought I was just gonna get out of the business, because I
Wow.
was like, if this is what it is, I can't do it like this anymore. And at that point, I had been doing it almost 11 years,
Mhm.
and I just couldn't do it anymore. But I was also really conflicted because I had spent 11 years building it to get it to this point. So how could I walk away? And so I took that time. I just took a sabbatical, and my husband and daughter and I went to the West Coast to see family, which is where our family was, and to just get out of this environment and into a new one, to kind of rest and reset and decide what I wanted to do next. So
Wow, you really did it. That was brave, because once you tap out of real estate, it's almost like you're forgotten. Did you have your team members to support you, to support your clients while you're away, or did it just kind of
Yeah, I
evaporate?
had at that point I had two team agents and I had an assistant. I didn't tell anybody I was leaving. I didn't feel like I needed to announce that.
Right,
Um,
right,
I do have consistent marketing and, communications that I've built over the years that go out consistently every month. And so I kept that machine running because I
okay,
felt, even if it wasn't me, I could refer them to the other women on the team or
right,
something, but I was so, I truly knew that I couldn't make any decisions like that in the state I was in. So I really had to choose myself in that moment. I really just had to believe that the way I felt was worthy of being honored, and
right.
that I needed to just trust myself and I needed to do what was best for me. And then the rest will have to figure itself out. And it did. And it figured itself out
That's
better than I could have ever imagined. So,
Well, hold right there. We're going to go to
yeah.
commercial break and we're going to come back and you're going to tell us what happened when you came back. So we'll be right back with Mastering the Art of Success.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical. Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk.
Welcome back to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here with Kelly Parker. She is from Chicagoland. And we were just talking about burnout. She took from September to December off. And in real estate, sometimes we evaporate, but she continued with her marketing and she didn't announce it. And she did take time to herself because she was so burnt out. And people in any kind of business who work so hard, that does happen. So tell us, but you were brave enough to actually do it. I've actually never done it. So I've taken a week off before in Cuba where I had no cell reception, but I have never taken that kind of time off. So now enter January 2021. Tell us what happened, how you felt, what happened after that
Yeah.
time off.
Well, I'll back it up a little bit. At the very end of this sabbatical, and you have to understand, like for 4 months, I was like, well, what's next? Because I didn't think I was going to go back because I didn't really believe that I could do it any differently for some reason. And on that sort of tail end of that time, the whole time I had been asking, how did I get here? Like, how did I actually end up this burned out? And I realized that really, truly, the first 8 years of my business and building Home Collective, I was not burned out. And I was actually deeply aligned to how I was doing it, how I was showing up, and my mode of operation. And I do believe because I was so aligned, that was why I was seeing the success that I was seeing. But somewhere along the way, I think I fooled myself into thinking maybe I had just gotten lucky, that this wasn't actually sustainable. that if I really want to grow, maybe I should start listening to other people and how to do it. And I really believe there was a moment where I stopped listening to myself and I started listening to the noise of the industry. This is how you grow, this is how you scale, and if you're not growing, you're dying, and you do it in these ways and at all cost. And I bought into it. Apparently, I didn't recognize, I couldn't tell you when it happened. I just know it happened. And so, really, the first 8 years, it didn't feel that way. And it was super aligned and it was abundant. And the last 4 years of it, before I took my break, I was deeply burned out. It was harder than ever, which wasn't really making sense. And I realized that was the key, that there was 8 years of alignment, 4 years where I was misaligned. And it was almost in the same instant that I recognized that I had, and everybody take this with whatever your belief system is, but I had like a true like higher self moment where I really heard, okay, well, now you're supposed to actually coach other women in this, and really understanding that there is an aligned way to live and grow and build our businesses, which I know your vocabulary is by design and similar to me in my space. And then there's a misaligned way to grow our businesses and to live our lives. And my work now was to go back from growing and building Home Collective and my business from an aligned place. And so I came back in January of 2021, and that was my commitment, was to just throw out the old ways of how I was doing things that did not feel good and were not serving me, and to reprioritize and to rebuild from that place. And I did. And that's when my team quadrupled. It's when our production quadrupled. It was when everything really took off and really blossomed and really expanded in ways that went far beyond my imagination. And that's also just what birthed my coaching career as well. And realizing that my work now is to go help other women in the industry outside of just my team. And so that's what I've been doing since then.
Well, it's incredible. So what were some of the things that created such burnout?
I think gosh, Debbie, how much time do we have? I think that it is a big part is the beliefs that we hold. It has really a lot less to do with the actions and more the beliefs behind the actions. You know, there's a formula for actualizing anything in our life, and it is your beliefs create your feelings, and your feelings create your actions. It's actually your beliefs create your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings create your actions. And so I was actioning all of these ways because I had beliefs that were deeply rooted in fear and lack and scarcity and self-worth. Like I needed to be the perfect agent, and I needed to deliver in all of these ways in order for my clients to see me as valuable or worthy or whatever. And I'm like just going straight for it. It's not even at this point, it's like not fluff. Like I think we have to be so honest that so much of what drives our actions are the fears we hold, the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. And I recognized that I was showing up in all these ways because I had these beliefs that were not serving me. And so I had to really start there in a lot of ways to make some changes. So that started to look like letting other people support me. I don't have to be the only one that shows up for my client. That other people can show up and do a great job, an equally good, if not better job as me. And I know that's really hard as realtors to believe that someone else can do it.
Right.
But I have 10 women who I trust to like step into my shoes at any point and do it like me. So I know it's possible. And I also really there was a lot of actions that changed, but the first was trying to get a lot of my time back and to create some different structures and different modes of operating that were in more service of my overall well-being. And when you make changes like that, you're confronted really quickly with your beliefs and your fears and the things that have to shift if you're going to shift as well.
Absolutely. So I'm assuming that after this is when your aligned ambition came out, your coaching program. Did this come out of 2021?
Yeah, it came after that. So it was two parts. I was already coaching my team and mentoring my team, and all of them have become top producers in their own right. So I knew there was a real method to the madness. But really, the part that I'm so passionate about with helping women is this sort of self empowerment, self actualization, and really understanding that we got into this business because this business provided, it was a bridge to something else. Real
Mhm.
estate and being successful in this industry was a bridge to financial independence, freedom, the ability to take care of your family, the ability to be around for your family or your kids or partner or your parents. And I wanted to help people really realize that. And so I couldn't just teach the tactics though. I couldn't just coach on, the everyday real estate stuff. We really had to address the whole human. And because I had done so much work on myself, I just started sharing what was working with me with others. And that organically is what's just grown my coaching business. And so I was doing that those first couple of years back from sabbatical, and then it got an official name and, branded as Aligned Ambition when I was finally able to actually explain what it is that this coaching was.
So just can we dig a little deeper on, so you're when you meet with a client, someone calls you from this podcast and says they want to work with you. How is it set up? Walk them through a consultation on how
Yeah.
that would look like.
Yeah, so I do 20-minute like chats. You can book something on my calendar at any point just to meet and share where you're at, and I can, reflect some things back. I think the beautiful thing about coaching is that a lot of times it's just someone who can hold up a mirror for you. And I think I
Mhm.
have an incredible ability to see things very clearly, very quickly. What are the things that are here and what is getting in the way from the thing that you desire? And so you can always book a 20-minute chat with me, but I also do one-time calls, and I also use human design, or I have bigger packages too, obviously. But I share this because we're all designed incredibly different. There's actually a modality called human design, similar to like a disc test or any of those other sort of online profile tools, but it's a self-awareness tool. And it's based in the science of differentiation, where we are all designed actually very differently. And when you understand the way that you are uniquely designed, you now understand your blueprint for creating and achieving things in your life. And when I learned about human design while I was on my sabbatical, and it was when I learned about human design, I was like, this explains everything. I go, this
Oh.
explains my success early on, because I was actually living in a lot of alignment with the way that I was designed, with the way that I was supposed to show up in the world, with the way that I was supposed to make decisions and make things happen in my life. And so very early on, I incorporated human design into my coaching. And so the very, very first place I start with anyone is with a human design call, where we will really look at your design and help you understand who you are. Because I believe once you understand who you are, it actually gives you a lot of permission to go out and do the things that you desire. And I think that it's the missing piece in a lot of real estate coaching is we're giving one size fits all coaching advice and tactics and trainings and things like that. And we've all been there. We've all sat in the class and thought, I would never do that. I wouldn't,
Right.
I can't do that. Or you tell yourself you have to, and you feel all of your life force leave your body. And you're like, I guess I get a cold call now. Like, I guess that's what I'm doing. And it's like, no, that's not right for everybody.
I'm
And here are
laughing
the ways.
because cold calling, knocking, I've never knocked on doors, but that just like totally makes me feel like you just said, for me to even go through in my head to say people actually door knock, that is I just would never.
Yeah.
It makes me so uncomfortable. So I'm like, that I cannot do
Yeah.
that. Check. That's off the box. I'll be at an
Yeah.
open house and I'm happy to meet people and have people come into me, but I don't want to go knock on some door and I feel like it's
Same.
you can be selling, you know, candy or something. That doesn't feel comfortable. So I love what you're saying about the human design. I haven't taken that test, but one of the guests I interviewed, he had a test that I took and then I had my team take. And there's these two younger gals who are on the team and they both had a similar way of working. They were more task oriented. I go, oh wow, I can give you guys tasks all day long. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of go out there and do because it's what I've been doing for so long, but other people need to learn in a different way. So can you highlight a few different ways how people are different? Because I really wasn't aware. I thought we just all had to kind of just go out and do it and meet people
Yeah.
and market and network.
No.
And so yeah, give us that is not something I was really I didn't really understand.
Yeah. So it's like, gosh, where do I start? One, I mean, it's broken up into, we all have different energy types, and to really be in tune with like, what are the things that really give you energy and what are the things that take away? Because that's part of like the code here. But for me, for example, I would never cold call. I do not buy leads. Those things are not aligned for me. But open houses were great because I liked small groups, small rooms, where I could have a presence and a purpose, but I also, could create sort of these genuine just connections with people. So for me, open houses are very aligned. For other women on my team, they're not at all, actually. And there
Right.
are women on my team who are truly designed to actually get their business through channels like Instagram. I use Instagram as an example all the time. There's only about 10% of designs that are actually meant to generate business through strangers on the internet. A lot of the rest of us, it is somehow through our connections, our community, and there's different ways for doing that. So for some designs, it's important, like if you're a projector, that you create recognition so people can recognize you as someone who can help them. Where for so that would be a projector, and so like a magazine advertisement, like a who's who recognition or a top producer recognition. Or I've had women who were like, we're going to find a recognition for you because it's going to be so important to be able to show this to your database that you are someone who they can recognize as who can help them. And so it shows up in a lot of different ways. It can be social, it can be, like for me, it's my small group communities.
Mhm.
I will always, the way that I'm designed will always, my business will always come from about 1 to 2 to 3 degrees of separation. And so that's just a few examples. I mean, I can certainly give more, the but it is, I use it for my whole team, and then I coach a lot of teams now where when we understand the way that everybody's designed within a team, what it does, Debbie, is it actually releases a lot of the pressure
Mm.
that I think is actually what stifles people's growth, and instead gives you a lot of permission to actually do it in the ways that feel right for you. And that's the unlock to the success. And
I love it. That I was just waiting for you to end with that. That is so, and that with that sentence with that, that is so true. I am exactly like you. I love to have these conversations, and I love to be in my open houses, and in my BNI group where it's a small controlled environment that we're there for purpose. You said the word purpose. I have to do things with purpose. I don't like being in a cocktail party. I'm very uncomfortable. I do my best, but it's like, it's not fun for me because I feel like it's just all random conversation. And sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's not. Most of the time it's not really. But when you're doing something that feels purposeful, it is so aligned with me because I feel like I can help, I can offer something, I can learn something back. And so very much like how you do it. And it does, I think when you said that about how, if I enjoy social media for the creative content and I love to learn. So I don't, probably because I'm older, I don't feel like, oh my God, I'm missing out. I feel like, wow, that's cool. That thing exists, or that's a great idea. So I see it differently. I definitely am not connecting and finding clients on Instagram, but it is a way to showcase your listings and also to meet some people, but not really for me in the way some of these influencers are doing it. But I love that it is so important what you said, to align yourself with the way you do business so you can feel comfortable, but also it gives you the permission not to feel bad because I don't want to cold call or I don't want to do an open house if that's what someone doesn't want to do. So I just wanted to
yeah,
point that out. I think that's genius. It's very, very good. Very
it's an
smart.
important key. Like being able to have that permission is a huge unlock. And to free ourselves of all of the pressure, whether that's industry or self-prescribed that comes in, it really becomes a massive block to actually creating the thing you're trying to create. So
Absolutely. And it is so much harder for people in industries like us where when you're on commission, because you're trying to
yeah.
figure out what your secret sauce is for you while you're on commission, and you're so overwhelmed and you want to do good. You got your license and you're excited and you want to do it, but it's a lot of hard work. So tell me about some of your mentors. I think, like you mentioned, mentorship, having mentors is so important to your growth I'm writing a book right now called the Mindset and Motion Method, and I talk about conquering your goals and how to achieve your goals. And I just can't say enough about mentors. You can go to college, you can go to grad school, you can continue learning, but by having mentors who are in there doing it every day in and day out, they know what's happening. So tell us about some of your mentors.
Yeah, I mean, I had a wonderful mentor my second year in the business. She was a woman in real estate. She'd been doing it for 15 years at that point. And I'm genuinely so grateful for her because I do believe she changed the trajectory of my career. Um, and and so that was a really meaningful one. I've had other women in other industries and other businesses that I have, been following and been in relationship with to just like really like I think we need these people. It doesn't have to be women, obviously, but these other mentors for two purposes. One, they've either done the thing that you're trying to do, and they are a wealth of knowledge and information and a source that is just so beautiful. And also to just know you're not alone in this, and your struggles were probably their struggles, and how did they overcome them. And I just think that that's so powerful, but also there's an opportunity for really to be expanded, right? When I met my mentor early on, I didn't actually even realize it was possible for me in this industry until I saw what she was doing. And that's been really true for me at every season. And Sam, I can't express the importance of a mentor from obviously just like the knowledge and the information and those things, but because we really need people to help us think bigger for ourselves than we can ever think, because that's a big part of the formula for things working too. And to be able to see people modeling things in ways that help us then change our own identity. I'm really big on identity work. I think you have got to become a match for the thing that you really want in your life. And that starts with how you see yourself. And I think that mentors can be really great expanders in that way. And so
It's
I've had real estate, spiritual mentors, all of different kinds.
Yeah, once you align yourself with your purpose, you can soar. And until you're in alignment, you're just kind of it's a balancing act, right? You're like, do I go that way? Oh no, no. But once you're aligned, you're
Yeah.
just walking, and then it's like, things kind of
Yes.
just
There's ease and there's flow and there's
yes,
joy and there's like, you can feel it. When you're there and you can feel it. And I
right,
think sometimes even the power of some mentors I've had is to point out to me that I might be convincing myself that I'm there, but what's really going on here. And so I think it's all of that is so true.
And then just going back to the mentorship for a minute is that when someone once said to me, I didn't know it was possible to own a second home. And we went to your second home and it was so fun. And I didn't even know it was possible. That's not how I grew up. And so it's
Yeah.
the same with mentorship. You don't know what you don't know until you know, right? I always like to say
Yeah.
that. You have no idea what's possible for you. You Why would you know? You're just starting out. So again, for mentorship, find a mentor and stick with it, and find many mentors. And we can find mentors on podcasts now. We can find mentors in person. Part of my exercises in my book is to identify mentors, whether you know or don't know, or someone could introduce you to a mentor. Um,
Yeah.
so,
But
so
like, don't be afraid to reach out. Like, I have to
right,
say this. Like,
right,
nobody is better than anybody else. Like, I have
right.
to stress this. I think we really put certain people on pedestals. Like, oh,
Mhm.
that girl's a top producer and she has this huge team and she has this beautiful brand. And, Debbie's been doing this for a million years, like all these things. And she's got this podcast and she's writing a book. I could never. I'm not, I'm not that. I'm too far away, or whatever these stories are. And we
Right,
put people on pedestals and then we don't reach out,
right,
and we don't ask or make contact or see what they might have available, or if they're offering anything, or could they just get a conversation and a coffee. I will tell you, the women that reach out to me, I am it is because it's such a big part of my purpose, and I think yours too, for
yes,
serving others, that I it is like my number one joy, truly number one joy. But I have recognized that on my own journey there was people I was afraid to reach out to. I didn't
right.
think I thought they would judge me, or they wouldn't think I was worth their time because they had done all these amazing things. And the times that I did where I was really brave enough, and they've now become some of my best friends, my greatest, expanders, like you said, of being able to witness other things that are possible. And so I just want to give
Absolutely
that
reach out.
encouragement because I say that a lot.
Absolutely reach out. So, we only have a couple more minutes. So tell us your real estate market and how people could get a hold
Oh
of
my gosh.
you.
Yeah. So Home Collective, we serve Chicago proper and the surrounding suburbs. And Chicago, the city proper alone is made up of 207 micro neighborhoods.
Wow, I had
So
no idea.
the way that my team serves, we serve many micro neighborhoods, and we're all sort of positioned with our specialties in each, because you could cross the street and be in a completely different neighborhood. And so it's so important to work with an agent or have a referral agent who's aware of all of those things, because it can really affect, how we serve our clients. So Chicago's all these micro neighborhoods, and then we have surrounding suburbs. And so Home Collective agents, we cover it all. We have a very big radius. That's been part of my goal, is to be able to serve clients no matter where they go. Inside Chicago or out, we have a huge referral network. Chicago for us is a very outbound heavy referral network as opposed to incoming. And so, these relationships are amazing and so important. So we can also put our clients in touch with agents across the country. So whether you're looking to send someone to Chicago or you just want to connect with me so I know about you and I can send someone your way, please do. But yeah, we serve Chicago proper and the surrounding suburbs. And really our market is vast. It is everything from first-time home buyers, at modest budgets, to luxury. I've helped clients on their fourth, fifth transaction, to leaving the city and going to the suburbs, and downsizing from the suburbs and coming to the city. So we certainly cover it all.
You covered all. Well, this has been so exciting. I did not know much about you until I read your bio and we launched into this. And Sean, our friend, said you are an amazing interview and this was incredible. And I feel like we are very aligned, and I look forward to digging deeper into your coaching website and learning more and referring you business and coming to take a tour of Chicago in that way. I've been to Chicago
Yes.
once for 2 days and didn't touch on it, but it just,
Oh yeah.
you are definitely knowledgeable and definitely working your authentic purpose and aligned in your purpose. And I just love it. And it shows through. And thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thank you for having me, and please come visit Chicago. I'd love to show you around.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Kelly.
Debbie.
Tune in each week for another episode of Mastering the Art of Success with host Debbie DiMaggio. Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Real stories, real strategies, real success.